The Fablemans is a movie directed by Steven Spielberg and has been nominated as Best Picture of the Year by the American Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. Does it deserve it? Let's dig in and find out. So, The Fablemans is a fictionalized biopic of Steven Spielberg's own life. Meaning, Steven Spielberg based most of what happens in the movie on things that happened in his real life, except he changed all the names and says some of it's not true. Parts of this movie were really good. The whole movie's pretty entertaining. And there are some fun moments. And it is Steven Spielberg, and there are places in this movie where his abilities as a director are on full display. That being said, when I thought this movie was over, I checked to see how much more time was left, and there was still an hour and a half left of the movie. The pacing is not very good. The script is very inconsistent. And Steven Spielberg editing, or, directing, the editor, on his own movie, a movie about his own life, was probably not the best answer. So the actors in here were actually pretty good. Michelle Williams plays Mitzi Fableman, the mother, really well. She does a really good job in this movie, as does Gabrielle LaBelle, who plays Sammy. Paul Dano, who plays the dad, Fableman. The surprise, and I didn't know a whole lot about this movie going in. So when Judd Hirsch arrived as Uncle Boris, I was surprised. And pleasantly surprised, because I love Judd Hirsch, and he was absolutely fantastic in this movie. He only had a few scenes, and then he left, which was the character's way. But he was really, really good, and it's a nice reminder of the presence that he has on film. But Seth Rogen was real good as Benny. So in a movie called The Fablemans, that's a movie about a family, and then we're told it's Steven Spielberg's biopic that he didn't want to be a biopic. So now it's about one person. So it's a story about a family, but one person. And that's where the confusion starts to happen in this movie, is that it tries to be the story of the Fablemans, all of them. But the sisters the siblings get left behind. They're there, and they have lines, and they turn up every now and then, but there's really nothing about them. So it's not the Fablemans. But it could be about the Mr. and Mrs. And I'm going to assume at this point you've seen the movie. This is your spoiler warning. From here on out, I will not be careful about spoilers. The trouble that Mr. and Mrs. Fableman have because of Mr. Fableman's friend. It could be about that, but then it's not really a biopic of Steven. So this is where this movie starts to not be a Best Picture candidate. And as I said, the actors all did a really good job with a script that was a little bit inconsistent. And the pacing was off, shall we say. It didn't quite happen. Now, in a year where you have movies like The Banshees of Inisherin, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Tar, All Quiet on the Western Front. This movie didn't quite achieve enough. So I think when the Academy decided that this year they were going to nominate 10 movies, and that's all there is to it, then this one fits. It's fine as one of the 10. I do not believe it should win. I just don't believe it achieved enough, that it was consistent enough in this year's competition. I am going to have a preview of the Academy Awards party on Saturday. The Academy Awards are on Sunday the 12th, so Saturday the 11th. I will be creating a sheet of integrity where I use the ballot right from the Academy Award website to document the movies that I think are going to win, and if there's a difference, the movies that I think should have won. Well, all of the categories. All of the main categories, I should say. So, it's nice that Steven Spielberg's directing movies again. I want him to direct more. But asking somebody to direct their own biopic is just asking a little much, because you don't want to offend anybody, so you soften up an edit, you change a little thing. I did like this movie. I did find it entertaining. Let me know what you think. Have you seen The Fablemans? Some of the things I liked about it was the fact that Steven Spielberg was willing to show that his family kept the Jewish traditions, but they weren't quite overly strict. You know, when they're lighting the menorah for Hanukkah, it's all just fun. So at that point, we get to see that this family doesn't take itself so seriously. Spielberg, as a writer and director, chose to represent that accurately rather than, make themselves out to be a little more religious than they were. And I appreciate that. I did like some of the little things, like the fact that the mother used paper plates and a paper tablecloth to ease her cleanup, so she didn't have to be bothered doing dishes, right? The mother wasn't much of a housewife. She wanted to play piano. She was very good at playing piano, which we didn't kind of get to see enough of or learn enough about, in my opinion, if it's a movie about the Fablemans. Some of the scenes, like when she was playing, you could see that Spielberg really took his time to craft parts of that really well. So I did enjoy this movie. I'm okay with it was nominated among these 10. I'm not sure I'm going to pick it for Best Picture. Tune in Saturday the 12th to find out. What did you think? Do you think this movie is worthy of the nomination, and do you think it should win? Let me know. And if you don't think this one's going to win, let me know what you think is going to win. And if you're liking these videos, give me a thumbs up. That lets me know I'm doing a good job. It lets YouTube know I'm doing a good job. And if you want to follow along, you can subscribe and hit the bell so that you know when I drop the new ones of these. But I appreciate you watching this one. And my name's Sean. This is Sean's Take. And I'll see you next time.